Yo, what's up, guys? Everyone, today we'll be talking about the Grizzlies firing head coach Jenkins and why they went ahead and did that. Now, the Grizzlies, they went out today and fired Taylor Jenkins, 22 days before the playoffs started, and my reaction is probably the same as yours. What did Taylor Jenkins do to get fired? I mean, if you caught yesterday's game, OKC went on a crazy run to end that game. It was a not even 3 possession game, and then OKC ended it off on a 28-5 run, just in insane OKC fashion. So Chris Haynes tweets this out. Memphis Grizzlies announced that they have parted ways with head coach Taylor Jenkins. Now I saw that tweet at 400 quotes in less than a minute. I'm like, okay, so I'm not the only one that's shocked at this. So I went ahead and tweeted, wait, hold on, my phone. Hello, what the fuck did Taylor Jenkins do? Because I'm like, I don't know where he just fired Taylor Jenkins. I mean, he must have done something like some KPJ, some about to get banned from the NBA type stuff. I'm like, oh brother, what did Taylor Jenkins do? But all season, I'm not I've been 1,000% tapped into Grizzlies games. Grizzlies fans have been acting like Taylor Jenkins was a terrorist, and now he's just team has no identity on offense or defense, and I guess they reached their breaking point. I mean, the offense, I don't know who to blame for the offense. It's been struggling as of recent. I mean, they obviously know that their new signing to tour with the assistant head coach, who's now their new head coach, which I'll get into as well. They have another guy as well. I think Shams tweeted out was a guy named LaRoche. He had a part in the offense. He's gone as well. Another assistant coach is gone as well. But let's go ahead and just read into Shams, and then I'll just go ahead and further break it down. So Taylor Jenkins, gotta read this. Taylor Jenkins was called into the Grizzlies office this morning. It was fired in person, sources tell ESPN. Stunning dismissal. Jenkins now becomes one of the top head coaching candidates for the upcoming cycle. He has a .539 win percentage as Grizzlies coach. So obviously the Grizzlies struggled mightily last season, and this season they've been at the minimum a top 15 team in all of basketball. A couple weeks back, a month, they were the second seed in the Western Conference, and now Taylor Jenkins is out of a job. But Taylor Jenkins, he has a hard job because he's had one of the deepest rosters in all of the association. But let's go ahead and break down some Taylor Jenkins overall. The Memphis Grizzlies this season, in 31 games against teams with a winning record over 500, are 11-20, and they have been outscored by 77 points. You have a deep team. When these guys are at their best, this is supposed to be a championship level team. Yes, I said it. Ja Morant can be a number one option on a championship level team. Is he playing like it this season? Absolutely not. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been a two-way monster. 3-point shots falling. His floater and hook shots are money. He's a great defender. He's up there for DPOY. Desmond Bane is a really good 3 option. He's one of the best shooters in basketball. Can get to the rim, can play make, can hit the mid-range jump shot. This is an objectively really good team. You have a lot of really good role players around alongside those starters as well. Jalen Wells, you have Zach Edey, another couple of high-level role players. You have Santi Aldama, a guy I personally love, GG Jackson, and then every so often you'll get a couple of the guys come off the bench and provide amazing minutes like Luke Kennard, and John Contra might come in every so often, and it's this is an incredibly deep team. And the Grizzlies, their breaking point, I mean, they had lost 1, 2, 3, 4. They have lost 4 of their last 5 games, including a loss against the Jazz. And it just had to be done. Now, the only thing I don't agree with is 22 days before this playoff start. People are like, oh, the Grizzlies would have been a first-round exit with or without Taylor Jenkins. Okay, cool. At least let them finish that. At least have the decency of finishing it out. Was a couple of reactions from Grizzlies fans, tweets, videos, and they just basically said they were going to be first-round exits. And it's I get it, but it's 22 days before the season, before the playoffs starts. I mean, that's brutal. Now, luckily for them, they do have a guy that probably maybe has a really good chance of being their head coach without the interim tag, which is now Memphis Grizzlies assistant. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so my bad for the butchering. Tomas Lasalo as the interim head coach, or ESPN, or is that Lasalo? I don't know. A native of Finland, is a former Finnish professional player and coach. He was the head coach of Paris basketball in 2024, winning the Euro Cup and Euro Cup Coach of the Year. So we'll get into the big 3 of Jaren Jackson Jr., John Morant, and Desmond Bane as well. But I also remember making a tweet when I was watching the Cavs versus Grizzlies game. John Morant was literally playing like a role player. And the fact of the matter is, I'm sorry, I know JJJ is having the much superior season, but my brother in Christ, John Morant cannot be a role player in your system. He is the face of your franchise. I'm sorry to inform you that, okay? I know you want to have this togetherness in this team basketball. You want this, you want to run that, but at the end of the day, John Morant is your best player. Shout out to JJJ, shout out to Bane, shout out to all the countless amount of great role players on that team. But again, it's just tough as well to like the rotation. There's so many guys to play in this team. It's just like. And then I was listening to Molly Morrison video on Twitter. She had mentioned how the whole Dylan Brooks fiasco and how he was shooting the Grizzlies out of games and he wouldn't pull them. And it's like, that is a coaching blunder. That is a coaching mistake. That is a very, very valid point. Coaches need to put emotions aside and bench guys that aren't performing well and get guys in who are performing well. Like, sometimes Scottie Pippen Jr. is having a really good game. John Morant, as much as it sucks to say, you might have to sit on that bench, brother. Like, it just is what it is. And I also saw a comment recently, right before I made this video, where my Grizzlies fans wanted to go ahead and talk about it as well. So I just heard it on Twitter. The Grizzlies have been in a tailspin. The defense with Jenkins is Jenkins' calling card, and it's gone to hell. The offense has no identity and has been an issue. They've been bad against good teams. They've been bad since the All-Star break. The coach is on his last leg. They said timing was a bit shocking, but the situation is not. So that's pretty much where I am at as well. Now, obviously, I'm not too tapped in with the Grizzlies, so I know that they had a lot of these lows, because just by looking at like the stats, look at the Grizzlies, and they're like, oh, you know, by offensive rating, they have the 6th best offensive rating in basketball, and by defensive rating, they have the 11th best. So you have a top 11, 10, give or take, offensive defense, and you just fire your coach, even though you have one of the best records in the NBA. Let me go ahead and quickly see, because in the Western Conference, which is very, very mighty, they do have the the 5th best record right now. They have a 2.5 game lead over the Clippers for the 6th spot. And overall in the league, the Grizzlies do have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have the 8th best record right now, 5-5 over the last 2 games. Hey man, they just probably felt that it just had to be done. Now let's get into yesterday. Lost 28-5 against the Thunder. That had to be it. 28-5 in the final minutes. That had to be the dagger. Which for Taylor Jenkins, I mean, that sucks. He must have known something was going to come. But after last year, to go through that and then into this year, coaching is solid. This is why these guys get paid the big bucks. They take a lot of scrutiny. But man, this roster, let me just go ahead and read through the roster. There's so many just quality players on this team. Guys I forgot to mention as well. Trying to get off just in order of how much you get right now on ESPN. Santi Aldama, Desmond Bane, Brandon Clark, Zach Edey, Jay Huff, G.G. Jackson, JJJ, Luke Kennard, occasional John Collins, obviously John Morant, Scottie Pippen Jr., the occasional Cam Spencer, the occasional Lamar Stevens, Jalen Wells, and Vince Williams Jr. as well. This is an extremely, extremely, extremely hard team to like maneuver the minutes. So this is a tough job, but like the comment said, he is the defensive-minded head coach, and according to the Grizzlies standard, he just has not been at that. And also, offensively, the system is just not to the liking of the Grizzlies, so they went ahead and made that decision. But again, I don't know how much blame to put the offense, because there are guys behind the scenes as well with Taylor Jenkins that are incorporated with the offense. But it is what it is. Like I mentioned earlier, shout out to Tim McMahon for tweeting this out. He had mentioned that the Grizzlies parted ways with the assistant head coaches Noah LaRoche and Patrick St. Andrews, along with their head coach Taylor Jenkins. Noah LaRoche had a major influence on Memphis' shift in offensive philosophy this season. So it looks like there's at least 3 different coaches who have a kind of like spin of their own on the offense. So I guess they just really liked the assistant head coach that they've been talking about from like summer league on. So I guess he's just going to be the overall head coach depending on how that goes along. But it was definitely shocking. But after reading through some stats and listening to the Grizzlies fans, it makes sense why they would move on, like maybe at the end of the season. But 22 days before the playoffs start, my brother, of course, you have the 8th best record in basketball, the 5th best record in the Western Conference. Like, that's tough. That is absolutely tough. Ja Morant just has him in the Ja Morant we saw last season. He had a really good game not too long ago, and I was like, yeah, y'all know the Ja Morant video, you switched up, stay on that side, man. Stay on that side.
Say everybody stay on that side when they switched up. You switched up, stay on that side, man.
56% true shooting percentage, just absolutely always 3-point shot is non-existent. Mid-range is there, not the same Ja Morant at the rim. He's just having a down season, but he has, I would say, taking a playmaking lead. He's been really, really good at playmaking the basketball. This is shout out to Ja Morant. JJJ's been phenomenal. Almost 60% true shooting as a big who doesn't just only score in the paint. He has a good 3-point shot. Mid-range shot is money at 50%. Good from the corners. It's an overall really good player, and we know how special he is as a defender. One of the best shot blockers in basketball. Hey, man. Good on the perimeter. JJJ, man. He don't have a wonky jump shot, but hey, that man's a hooper. That man's an absolute hooper. Desmond Bane as well, shooting 38.5% from 3. On close is 60% true shooting. He's been really good from the mid-range. He's been really good above the break. Now, Desmond Bane's right corner 3-point shot really hasn't been all that, 30.4%, but his left corner 3-point shot has been money at 35%. Just been really good overall. Another really underrated guy. Definitely the third option in the championship level team. Can get to the paint at almost 68% from the he can get to the paint at almost 68% at the rim. Has a good mid-range, good above the break, has crazy range, very underrated playmaker. Just an overall really good player. Shout out to Dez. But the decision to fire Taylor Jenkins after diving into all of the stats, and another one I forgot to look at as well was the Grizzlies' record over the last couple of games as well. Because I remember there was this stretch of the Grizzlies were just losing right at the buzzer, and it's just like, it's so infuriating. They did all that, and then right the final shot of the game they lost. Like, that's brutal. They've also only won 6 of their last 15 games with a record of 6-9. A couple of those losses came against the Knicks, the Spurs, the Hawks, the Thunder, lost against the Cavs, lost against the Kings, the Blazers, the Clippers, and recently, as soon as last night, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Taylor Jenkins, after going through all of last season to this season, just not performing up to par according to the Grizzlies organization. He is, unfortunately for him, gone as Grizzlies head coach, but Grizzlies fans feel pretty elated with that. They just maybe don't fully agree with the timing, but do have a lot of trust in obviously the team that is extremely deep, and also the assistant coach who is now their new interim head coach. But yeah. But other than that, yo, that is the video. So go down below, drop a like, comment down below, sub up, make sure to follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok. It's your boy John. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, and I'm out, man. Peace.